Welcome to my view of the stock market. Today is Monday, November 24th. This is a holiday week, Thanksgiving, or everybody's preparing for Thanksgiving, aren't we? Out shopping and fighting the crowds. It's kind of fun. We're getting holiday trading as well here. You're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq. Now, historically, this is a pretty bullish week for the market. Although, September and October are supposed to be weak, and they were very strong, and November was supposed to be strong, and it's been anything but. Anyway, today we had a gain. The Nasdaq advanced nearly 600 points or 2.69%. You could see the volume was 8% below, and you can see the volume here starting to trail off here as we get towards Thursday. The market will be closed Thursday and half a day on Friday, so there's 2.5 trading days left in the week. We can see here that the index rallied up to the 50 here today, closed just a tick below it. I'm a guy who has to stick by my rules, and I need a follow-through day to ape into this market. I'm not going to plunge in without sticking to my rules and seeing one of those follow-through days. We can take a look back at the last follow-through day. I must remind everyone that every market rally is at a follow-through day. Not all follow-through days lead to not all follow-through days lead to a rally, but all rallies have a follow-through day. The last one here was April 22, we had a 2.7% gain, 429 points on April 22, as I said, and that triggered this long rally of 7 months that ended here on, well, it topped out here at 24,019. On the Nasdaq, we had that 9% correction, and now we bounced a little bit on Friday, and what you could call a follow through today. But this is only day two, and what we need to see, not on day three, but on day four, which is Wednesday or later, a rise in advance of 1% or more on one of the indexes. So just, I have to play by my rules. That's what keeps me grounded. That's what keeps me safe, provides me guardrails. I don't care if I miss, a move at the initial move. If you miss this right here, right? And didn't get in till maybe here or when it crossed the 50, you still had all that gain, right? So if you miss, a day or two, that's okay. You want confirmation. I want confirmation. I can only speak for myself. I want confirmation before I get into this market heavily, and I don't have it yet. I'm waiting for, like I said, day four. I don't know. I just take things one day at a time. I'm going to anticipate anything, but my expectations are that the volume will decline as the week goes along as we get closer to Thanksgiving. That's pretty much been the tradition historically. But anyway, I don't trade indexes. I guess I'll go to the S&P 500. It's pretty much the same deal where it just rallied up to its 50 and closed right at the 50. And it just could just, start resuming this trend here. You make a low and it just starts trending higher, right? And but eventually it'll have a follow-through day if we're going to have a sustained rally. And that wouldn't surprise me if it just started ticking higher. That's the end of the selling, the 9%, the 4 weeks of selling or whatever, and that's the correction. But like I said, it hasn't proven anything yet. The Russell 2000 had a big move today, 1.89%, still well below the 50. The Dow Jones Industrial Average had that sharp sell-off. It was looking strong there, made a new high after the Nasdaq's high. The Nasdaq was October 29th. The Dow's high was November 12th, and you can see that it's closed below 0.5% below its 50. So you got to be like from Missouri. You got to make the index show you, at least in the way I play, and I try to play by the rules most of the time, try not to bend too many of them. But that's one that's pretty adamant about. You need a follow through day here to get a sustained rally. Like I said, not every follow through day means a new rally, but every sustained rally has a follow through day. Anyway, enough of that. Couple of stocks here. Apple, I believe this is still actionable. It had this, if I go to the weekly, 4 weeks tight pattern here. Yeah, it moved up 1 2/3% here today. A nice move with above average volume here for Apple, but still, like I said, to me, I think this is still actionable. They're at that 277.32. So point of interest, just broke out above that little downtrend there, but still, forming it could be forming a flat base pattern around that 277.32 being the high. So I'd like to see it pop above there, but still a nice day for Apple. Microsoft looks really bad. Microsoft and Meta just they look to me like, this one pulled back to its 200. Yeah, bounced to not even a 0.5% today. Meta, same thing, rallied up above the 10, and maybe it could get to that 21, right? But until it gets through those are likely going to be resistance here. Still 3.1% below the 21. A lot of work to do there. Amazon, same thing. It's right up here against its 50, right? Just a tick below it, 0.5%. So it's got a lot of work to do on this little waterfall. I mean, that's a lot of pain in a short period of time here since the November 3rd. So it made its high a couple days after the index. And a lot of stocks made their highs before the Nasdaq did, like Robinhood. This thing was 153 back in early October, and the Nasdaq peaked October 29th. So that's what the leaders do. Palantir, another one, yeah, made its high right around the time the Nasdaq did. So anyway, I better get back to the Mag 7 before I forget. Tesla well below its 50 here. It's got a lot of work to do. Wouldn't be surprised to see it be rejected there. Shorts couldn't push it any lower. That's for sure. 382 would be your, it retested it. So that looks good, but it's just got a lot of technical resistance here to get through. What did I do? Amazon, Tesla. Oh, yeah, that's right. There's a stock called Google, which came out with Gemini 3, man. The thing was really powerful. Oh, wow, 321 after hours. To me, when Judge Mehta gave him that favorable decision and it ripped up 9% on a September 3, kind of breaking out of this, long pattern here. And there you go. There's your breakout. And it's just been surfing its moving averages higher. But they also announced a contract with NATO, multi-million-dollar contract, which is just a foot in the door and likely a series of contracts going forward for Google. Yeah, this one is just a monster. I think, obviously the strongest performing Mag 7 stock. And, this has got a 3.8 trillion market cap. And I'm going to go to NVIDIA as the last one. This is at the 4.4. I could see Google overtaking NVIDIA, yeah, as a market cap because they have more offerings than NVIDIA. Not saying anything negative about NVIDIA. I just think Google has more offerings, a little more horsepower to, thinking down the road, not tomorrow. But anyway, NVIDIA is still below the 50, like a lot of these stocks here. It's got a lot of work to do. And as long as they're below the 50, I cannot get too excited about these. Now Broadcom today busted out 9% or 10%, now 11%. Whoa, $37 move here, bounced off the 50. So that thing is well above its 50 and definitely outperforming AMD or NVIDIA. AMD here is struggling right here at the 50 again. Hard for me to buy something like this. It's got a gap here at 170 below the 50. It can't get through. Yeah, I would be a buyer if it rallies back through. If we get a follow through to AMD's one that I really like due to the fundamentals, but it has to trade through its 50 and preferably above the 21. You can see these short-term moving averages at 10 below the 21. That's and heading towards the 50. That's sign of a downtrend right there. Short-term downtrend. Yeah, the at the end today is at 225. Where's AMD at? It's got a lot of work to do. Anyway, Taiwan Semi, another one of these semiconductor names, which has been, pretty strong group, pretty important group for an AI rally or a tech rally. And this one, 1.3% below its 50. So, you can see it's consolidating in this flat base pattern here. And a lot of these, leading semiconductor names are just, besides Broadcom, which made a huge move today, they're just below their 50 and just not giving me any confidence. How about that? I do want to take a look at the leading stocks and the leading groups. And this is the fiber optic group, the number one group. Every Saturday, I put out on my website, and I do post on X the top groups. I think it's important to, recognize the top performers, top, 10 or so groups. But anyway, LITE, this is a top stock and a top group making a new high today. You can see the big blue volume bars here recently. So yeah, institutions are buying that one. This one's straight up. And you can see, the earnings line, heading into this little U-turn as it was headed south and now it's heading north. It's funny how the stock follows along or actually maybe leads it higher. Sienna pull back to the 50 found support. That's what you want to see, and that's what we're not seeing with the semiconductors, except for Broadcom. So yeah, that's what you want to see, right? Yeah, they can make a high and pull back to the 50, but where do they find support? Well, this one found support at the 50. Now it's above all of its moving averages, and that's what you want to see. COHR, coherent electronic parts, and I'm throwing it in the same group because I don't have any group to put it in. But anyway. Nice move today, 8%. That one looks strong as well. Of course, I've got to get to the drugs. I can't go any further without mentioning the drugs. They've been really strong. Now they're ranked 23rd, but they're much higher than that, even though there's, like I said, 800 stocks in this group. I know Market Surge is doing revamping their industry groups, to include cryptocurrency and just kind of, getting them a little more detailed and structured. But Lilly is, top drug stock, up 1% today. It originally started lower on the Novo Nordisk news there. You can see the first half hour or so. Yeah, it was traded down to what, 1049. Just buyers came in because Novo really doesn't have anything to do with Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly has a better drug, and Novo had the failed Alzheimer's trial, which was not unexpected. It's down again with the volume there, down 5% today. So I don't want to look at stuff like that. I want stuff like that looks like this. ANAB, I mentioned in my morning post parade video here that that would be an area of interest breaking out of this little what you'd call a Darvis box type of action here. So the Wyckoff O'Neill type traders, the Darvis traders love stuff like that. That's ANAB. MD is another one that I like. And this one is just grinding higher. It broke out of its box a while back here. And this is why we pay attention to stuff like this. Yeah, it broke out and say, oh, it broke out, it's extended. Well, it's going to get more extended. And today, making new highs, and it's 4.7% above its 10. So, a little extended. GMED, this really belongs in another group, but I'm putting it in here with the drugs. Medical product stock, I did put this one on our ready list today, and you could see this cup-shaped pattern. I think it has a long way to go, just to even get to the old trigger. This is the high on the handle, 87.16, which it surpassed that today. RBMD. This is another one, just, Kelly Slater stock, surfing the moving averages to new high. With these stocks, we should really switch to the 5 because that's what they're doing. They're pulling back to the 5 and finding support and just riding it higher. So that's what you'd call a momentum name or a heat stock. They're great, these are great until they aren't. And when they start to falter, you need to get out of those ones because they can fall a long way in a very short period of time. This is INSMED having trouble with that 200 level, teeter-totter a little bit, but now 206.93 after hours up near 210. So we'll see if it can kind of push through that level and leave it in its rearview mirror. VRDN, another really strong name. You can't argue with new highs here. Viridian Therapeutics up nearly 6% today. ARQT, this one's been up every day, I think, since the FDA announcement. Oh, pull back one day. Thursday of last week, it came back at what, 56 cents. This thing powered higher, 4% today. APGE, another one of these APGE therapeutics, making new highs. You can see this group, yeah, top group, IONS, and a lot of these are on the relative stock list that I post at the top of mcstockcharts.com every morning. This one's breaking out of a box as well. That 78 and 76 level, yeah, that's definitely an area of interest. And like I said, those O'Neill Wyckoff type traders will, Darvis type traders will gravitate towards stuff like that. Celcuity, this thing is just a one-way stock, just wants higher since the gap up. And that's why we pay attention to gaps, you know. I know a lot of folks, you know, shy away from these, like, oh, we're going to short this, which is fine. That's what makes a market. But a 35% move with volume like that, usually buyers come in, you know, or short sellers have to get the heck out of Dodge before they go broke. That one's a super strong name. Another one, ABVX. I post this one a lot and people give me a hard time on it. I don't make the rules here, folks. It just wants higher prices. Uh, just observing. This is my observing of the stock market. And so I'm observing strength there. I'm not saying go out and buy it tomorrow, but it's been good to the longs for sure. Arrowhead Pharma, man, there's a lot of these drug names. Pull back to the 50. Where does it find support? Well, it's finding support at the 5, at the 5, at the 21, now the 50. And then it, you know, breaks to new highs today. And then glue. Now my last one is glue. Monte Rosa Therapeutics, you know, nice 11% move today, breaking out to new highs. You can see it broke out of this base here. Nice little wedge pattern as it, oops, as it, you know, broke out of this base here, gap higher and then wedged and then whoosh, moved up. That was a big move. It doesn't look like much there on Monte Rosa on the glue. September 15th, yeah, it was up 44%. Then it just pulled back, allowed the 5 to catch up, and now it's just been surfing its 5. So yeah, a lot of strong names in the drug. I'm going to stop right there because I want to get to some other stuff. The another leading group that pulled back sharply last week was the computer data storage group. This is SanDisk. You know, made that high of 284 on the 12th, undercut the 21. Man, this is dive bombing here down to 183. That's, you know, 284 to 183. That's 100 points in like a very short period of time. November 12th to November 21, like 9 days. Oh boy. And then today, so it made that low on Friday, right, of 183, closed higher, and then rallied up today through its moving averages. So this is the type of name like day traders love it, swing traders, you know, they're going to get shaken out because of these violent moves. So it's a good day trader market. It's a really tough trend trader tape right now. This is a Micron, and all this did was pull back to its 50. It undercut it slightly on Friday, then rallied up today, 8% move. Micron and SanDisk, are they both trading at 225? Yeah, right around there. SanDisk after hours. All right. See, there was a report of raised prices here. So, you know, that'll always help when you have pricing power. And I know this is the mothership of SanDisk, Western Digital, pulled back to the 50, found support. And then STX, this one pulled back to its 50, undercut it slightly on Friday, bounced today. So those are really strong names. And they've been strong for a while, as has the gold stocks. Now, this morning when I posted the commodity prices, gold was not doing much, was, you know, very little. But during the session, gold really ripped, and a lot of the stocks ripped with it. This is Barrick Mining making a new high today and attacking that 40 level. AU, these have been strong all year. As you can see, you know, I could do the comparison chart for all these if you want to do AU and Barrick Mining and Agnico Eagle and Wheaton Precious and Franco Nevada. These all have been super stellar names. Harmony, SSRM, it's like shooting fish in a barrel, okay? These have been super strong names, all of them, all year, very consistent, and continue to make you know, gains for their shareholders. Hecla Mining, another one. This got a cup with handle type of action. Traded down to the 50 for the second time here and popped today 8%. So a lot of strong names in the gold stock still. And I go through this every weekend and they've just been, you know, really strong all year, as has the energy plays, you know, and there's been a lot of the AI energy plays. This is Bloom, undercut the 50 on Friday, or actually Thursday, followed through to the downside. It was like 76 on Friday, bounced and closed Still 3%, 3.5% lower, but it closed at 89.99, call it $90, and today rallied up 6% to 95. I'd like to see it trade through the 50. This is another one like AMD. If they can show some strength through the 50, I'd definitely be interested in them. But I'm going to make the index and these stocks prove themselves to me because they haven't done it quite yet. GEV again, just consolidating in a base, but below the 50, it's hard for me to get excited about these below the 50. I just got to stick to my rules, folks. That's all. Um, Trying to keep myself safe. I like my money too much. I don't like losing it. Constellation, not bad. NRG, another one of these, not bad. NEE, at least this one's above the 50. Just a VST, a lot of these energy plays. I'm going to go through quickly. Yeah, it's a utility. So anyway, and then of course the former Bitcoin mining plays that are now energy plays. This is Iris Energy, and it's still well below its 50. It's great that it made that low on Friday at 39.52 and rallied up 14% today, but it's still, 10%, 10.5% below the 50. So to me, that one has work to do. CIFR a little better action here as it closed right at its 50, a 0.5% below. Not bad, but once again, I have to see them trade through these moving averages for me to get, involved with them. NBIS, another popular X or Twitter stock, made a low on Friday of 78.21. Yeah, rallied up today, not bad, above 90. And then CoreWeave. CoreWeave's, this is like the poor man's Nebius. How about that? Yeah, it's so far below. I can't get interested in that. All right. Moving on to the data center plays. We cannot forget about the data centers. Vertiv, traded below its 50 and then rallied back above today. I would like to see this one break above this, downtrend line here. So it still has work to do to get above the moving averages. But, nice move from Friday's low, kind of like a Bloom Energy, just a ridiculous price there that you got, 149. Congrats if you got it below 150. That one looks good. Powell is another one of these data center, boy, below the 50, not looking too good. EOSE is a battery storage type stock underneath the 52. So a lot of these are just below the 50s. The data center build out, heavy construction build out plays. This is Quanta Services, got support at the 50. Now up 3% today. Sterling not doing quite as well as Quanta, still below the 50. And then AGX. It pulled back to the 21. Where is this one finding support? Well, this one's stronger than Sterling. Why do I say that? Because it continually finds support at the 21. Even though the Nasdaq pulled back sharply, this one has held up well. That's Argan. We had this one on the ready list a while back, and it's been a good stock for a long time. Anyway, I'm going to go back to the not the biotech or the drugs. I'm going to go to kind of the medical services, health stocks. This is Guardian, making new high. Cardinal Health is another strong stock. These ones both gapped up on earnings and have been making new highs, just showing relative strength. IDXX, another one in this medical systems equipment group, making new highs, breaking out of that base here on this earnings report here up to 735 on November 3. Not bad. Even the pet stocks, the pet doctors, um, making new highs today. That's Elanco Animal Health. HAE, this is one that I put on my ready list this week. You can see this big consolidation. It's straight up from the bottom. Probably needs some time, but up more than 1% today. There you can see it on the weekly. If it can break out of that stage one base, and we got something there with that one. GRAL, this one made a huge move today. Ooh, man. Yeah, wow. Yeah, nice move. Above 103. Thank you very much. Once again, for you Darvish traders, you O'Neill Darvish traders, see this one attracts a certain, momentum type of trader when it gets above that 103. And we saw that today. Let's take a look at the 5 minute. Once it got above 103, yeah. Yeah, that's probably this move right here. And definitely buyers came in There it is. Yeah, 103, 104. Buyers came in. We love the Holy Grail. TMDX, another one. A lot of insider buying on this one. You don't see a lot of stocks with insider buying these days. TMDX is, yeah, this is a very nice base here. I like that one a lot. It was up 7% today. And then WGS, very strong name breaking out once again out of the box. What's in the box? Not Gene DX Holdings. I was going to say that's it for me, but it's not. I still have a couple of names. ONDS, breaking above, undercut the 50, lived down there for a while, and now it's back above it. Up, wow, almost 30% today. Nice move. CRS, this is a aerospace defense. So I'm going through some aerospace defense names. It was a steel name, but like I said, Market Surge is reconfiguring their your industry groups, and Carpenter's been switched to defense, and now it traded up above the 21 today. And then ATRO, another Astronics, another aerospace defense name. Smaller, 1.8 billion market cap, but finding support at the 50. Looking pretty good. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Enjoy your holiday season in honor of the great Steve Jobs. I have one more thing, and that is earnings tonight. Zoom was up. I saw the report, wasn't too bad. Yeah, up nearly 4%. The one that I did see and I liked and I posted it was Symbiotic. Now it's up 11%. Oh, good. That's good. We like that. SMTC was down. I think their report was pretty Midland. Yeah, down 6%. Agilent, that doesn't do much on earnings, down 1%. Then FLNC, this is a one of those alternative energy names, up 12% after hours. I don't think it has the, it's a 3 billion market cap stock. It doesn't have the cachet or the power to really drive that entire group higher, but it certainly won't hurt, that's for sure. Yeah, BE after hours and GEV. Maybe tomorrow we'll have another a strong day. Like I said, seasonally, this has been a pretty good week. Google there and Lilly, two of the stronger names in the market. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Have a great evening.